Greetings, everyone. Welcome to another installment of Tokusatsu Now, the podcast designed to get newcomers to the wonderful world of Tokusatsu, getting people onboarded onto all of that. Or if you've been in the wonderful world of Tokusatsu for a long, long time, you were having a podcast hosted by two lifelong Tokusatsu fans, so we're doing a deep dive for everybody, newcomers and old-comers alike. My name is Tom Caswell, and it is great to be here with you, and it is great to have Mike Williams with me this week. Mike, how are you, my friend?
Hello, I am doing well. It is a good evening. I just got back from a walk.
It's so nice.
The positive daylight savings time, terrible. So
Yeah.
last night, when instead of the clock clicking over to 2 a.m., they clicked over to 3 a.m.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, I went out for my walk and put on my hoodie after we live on the East Coast. So it's been cold
It's been
weather.
a
Today was
winter.
like 67,
It
close to 70.
was so nice today. We had our niece, her second birthday. We hosted it.
Oh,
And we have a really big, nice roof deck, and obviously we haven't been able to go up there really at all. All
Since you
winter,
got the place, yeah.
and well, not since we got the place, but over the winter, right? Like
Yeah.
and so we went up there today, and I was like, oh, it's gonna be too cold, and then I was like, oh no, it's nice. I'm in a t-shirt. I need to switch into shorts. Like, holy cow.
Yep.
Anyway. You're not here if you're listening now to listen to our lives, although we, this is an inside look at what two Tokusatsu fans
What is
look like.
Toku if it is not live action, and what is the most live action if not real life?
Exactly. That's another great point. Anyway, so this week is going to be basically catching up. Mostly, I want to talk about Zeztz because it's been a long time since we've talked about Zeztz, and we just pretty much hit the exact midway point of the show, give or take a week or two, depending on numbering and how many episodes there ends up being. But also, let's start with Gavan. We're 4 episodes in. We have had the reveal of Gavan Luminous, which was last week's episode. And this week we had an introduction. Have you watched episode 4?
Yes, okay. I made sure to watch it right before here.
Okay.
So we had Gavan Amaise.
Yeah. This show answered my question: will other Gavans appear? And it turns out they will. And it turns out that some of them can be ants.
Yes. So the reality that he enters is like half of the world are also just sentient bugs.
Yeah.
And the Gavan of this world is an ant with a cool old inspector voice.
It was such a good character. I was so into him when he got fried in the little, like, trying to short circuit the security system. I was like, no, I love this little ant.
And I'm sure if we looked up the voice actor, he's probably
right? Yeah,
probably an older voice actor from one of the previous shows. But and at one point, the Cosmo Gavarian, the Gavan trigger comes out, and you think it's going to be the lady.
His partner,
Gavan Infinity, thinks it's going to be the lady.
Yeah,
the ant clearly says, "I mean, come on, let's get this happening," and then. He turns into a little tiny Gavan, complete with a little physical toy that they had like 3D printed and painted, and a full fight scene with the ant.
Yeah, and it was cool because it was like, oh, it's just Ant-Man fight choreography, but it is an ant. Yep. Not an Ant-Man. I was completely kind of chuffed at this. I love the fact it wasn't just CG. They made like this ant. They made him be in the costume. We even got a Jochaku sequence, right? Showing the
Yes,
electroplating.
explanation. Yep.
And I love that it is it's one of those things that when you have stories that deal with the multiverse, like my biggest complaint, and this is not, I'm not the only one to have this complaint, but my biggest complaint with that Doctor Strange movie was, oh, they end up in a universe where people walk on red and they stop on green, and like
Yeah.
pizza is these tiny like balls of pizza balls, like pizza is served in ball form in this, but that's it. That's the two differences between these two worlds. And I love the fact that we're already getting zany. Like, yep, everyone is friends with bugs on this planet. Everyone in the police department has a bug partner, and the prime minister is a beetle.
Yeah, it was great. And also, like, by the time we got to this fourth episode, it's kind of like the first episode hit, and we were kind of wondering, like, how is this going to be different from Super Sentai? And the trick here, at least for me, seems to be that the only one that they need in every episode is
Red.
Gavan Gavan Infinity. And generally Sentai, like, as you add in the next couple of people, they would have to be in subsequent episodes. And it looks like we're still doing the Sentai rotation, as in the preview for the next episode shows that we're going back to Gavan Bushido again.
Yep.
And I wouldn't be surprised if the next one we will do Gavan Luminous, and then the next one after that will be another weird Gavan, and then we keep the rotation going until we add more. But the only one that's in every episode is Gavan Infinity.
Yeah, is Reiji.
And the closest we've had to that probably would be Q Ranger, where it had to work like that because they had like 12 different Rangers or something, like they had 12 different Sentai members. Red was in every episode, and then every episode was like 3 or 4 of the others as well. But
this is the Dino Charge season, right? This is the season that became Dino Charge. Oh, you're talking.
It became Cosmic Fury, which was the one in Power Rangers that had original costumes. In the Sentai version,
it's the space.
Yes.
And I never got that far in it. I didn't know that the core 5 were not omnipresent. You're saying like they swapped out? Okay,
they kept, so basically by the time they keep adding new Rangers.
Yeah, it got to like 10 immediately. Like it was crazy.
Right, and then from there, each episode has Red in it always.
Yeah,
but the other ones that appear are essentially
a jumble of the other. That's cool.
Yeah,
that's cool.
As opposed to like some of the previous shows where you'd get the 5,
right?
The 5 would always appear, and then maybe you'd get the extra, you get the 6, maybe you get the extra ones like Kyoryuger. They maybe pop up occasionally. And in this one, it was Red is always here. We're switching out the other 4. Gavan allows them to say Gavan Infinity is always here. If the other 2 are here, like the other 2 main Gavans.
Yeah. And eventually we will get them all joining up, right? Because we have that premonition in the beginning of the first episode where they're all teamed up. And speaking of premonitions, Mike, speaking of premo fucking nitions, we are talking about Zeztz, and my, Mike, I cannot tell you how happy I have been with the progress of this show. The last half dozen episodes, pretty much since they I enjoyed the Kamen Rider Nox bit, but the introduction of the new lords, those characters, and what happens in the story from then, it has been bonkers.
Yeah, and probably say the last 3 episodes it's been questioned. It's like, I guess we'll say spoilers right off the top. Sorry, folks.
Yeah.
As soon as Lords 5 and 6 died, I was like, wait, are we gonna okay, they just died. Obviously, they're not dead, right? And then Nox died, and we're
Yeah.
like, obviously, Nox isn't dead. Like he's the second rider. And then we got the coup de grace in the last episode, where our villain gets killed, lady, just shot, not even a break. And then Lord 3 caps Baku, just like straight caps him in the
Literally
head.
fucking assassinates him. It was crazy. I I eventually caught onto the idea. Again, we're speaking with the idea that you have watched Zeztz, or this. We're spoiling things here. I I had the idea that, oh, it's another dream layer. The real world that we know is not the real world. It is another dream layer. Um, because it was just like things were just not adding up with it, the way things were going. That being said, I still feel like those deaths were impactful, even though I felt like, oh, we're gonna get these characters back. But it's a total, we talk about I talk about Fires a lot, Kamen Rider 555, how much I love that show. That show is one that like has really big stakes, and like really big characters get killed off. And even though we haven't had Lords 3 and Lords 5 and 6 for that long, I was like,
Right.
oh, especially with Lord 6,
Kureha.
Kureha being friends with Natsuka, right? Like, that the impact of that character dying. I was like, oh, that's big. And then Nox obviously was wild. So I definitely knew that we were heading in this direction of it's another layer of Dream, but I didn't expect it to kind of end with Baku, like them killing Baku. And then for it to be like, no, he's experiencing this because of the car accident in the very first episode. So we go back, and I thought, oh, people are going to still retain their memories. Like everyone is going to be in this collective dream. So like all of the characters are still going to be aware. They're just going to wake up into the real world and be like, oh fuck, we were in a dream the whole time. But no, it's just Baku's dream, and it turns out to be a premonition, right, of the future.
One could say it's a vision of the future.
Sure.
Which the opening is, the original opening was visions. And some have pointed to some of the lyrics maybe pointing towards this twist. And we have a new the opening hasn't appeared yet, but the song appeared at the end of this episode. We are now playback, so we are now part 2, and Baku, with his premonition, has basically he speed runs the first fight from the show.
That was awesome.
From episode 1, but this time with Catastrom.
Yeah.
And it's not even that hard. And then everyone else is sort of brought up to speed because Baku clearly knows entirely too much. We get some other little bits, such as the fact that Lord 3 and Zero are like, Zero walks in, it's like, yo, just so you know, Zeztz is complete. Like, obviously everything we've been working for, it's done. He's complete. But also he doesn't like us. And we're going to have some problems with him. So and then my favorite moment of the episode, of a great episode, is 6 coming to Kureha and forcibly bringing
5,
her memory. Sorry. Yeah. 5 bringing back Kureha's memory forcibly. Just he's got such weird energy. I love him so much.
Yeah, I like all of the new agents. 3 is a just incredibly creepy character, and we always kind of get one of these this season, and this guy is doing such a great job of playing, and like he is fucking threatening and like kicked Baku's ass. and I'm glad that these characters are still in here. And I thoroughly enjoyed the getting up to speed, because he knows so much, and it just like the moment of like him leaving the wardrobe open for his sister, and his sister sees. She's like, "What the heck is this?" And then the cop shows up, and how that all happens.
And you brought up that you thought maybe they would have their memories. They must have something,
They
a
definitely,
little bit of
yeah.
something, because Nazca's like, yeah, the door wasn't open, so
So
I
I
came
just the window,
through
like
the window.
as if that was just something that they did. Because in the first episode, if you go back, she was very much like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Because it was the other cop who was climbing up,
Right.
and she was like, "We can't just go in through the window." And yeah, that's actually a really good point. Like
And then
it
she
was
says it
instinctive.
like
Yeah.
that was real. Like it was
Yeah.
weird to her.
Yes.
Um.
100%.
So, but no, everyone is back on board, except for Nox. So, uh, Baku essentially told the sister, Fujimi and Nazca, hey, this is what's going on. He told Nim, hey, this is what's going on.
Yeah.
And Nox, his vague posting ass, got vague posted. It's like, so what did he say? Damn, that's weird. Okay.
Yeah.
I gotta go.
Yeah.
Um,
And
so he
not,
is technically
yeah.
still Nox Knight at this point, even if he actually
Yes.
no, he's not Nox Knight
Well,
because
he
he doesn't
hasn't
have the
become.
invoker. Yeah,
He doesn't. The tease for the next episode shows that he has his
he'll get it
gear.
back.
He's got his gear, but or at least it's just in sword form. So like we don't see. I don't think we see him transformed in the next episode, but he has the sword. That was, I guess, like the one twist that I also was surprised by. Like the whole idea of it being his premonition. Like I thought what we were going to, the big reveal of the show was going to be, was that like, oh, they are in a dream layer, and what the lady and Nox are trying to do is break them out of it. Like the
Right.
world is collectively in like a dream layer, like a matrix. Like we got to break out of the matrix. Like and I do think that obviously, like I've talked about the very first episode, I talked about like, oh, there's a lot of like Matrix the stuff happening here. Obviously, we've got like an Inception thing going on too,
Right.
but like, I was like, oh, maybe it's a Matrix situation, like that everyone is asleep and they have to break this world in order to bring everyone back. But for it to be like, no, it literally is just a dream, and it is only a dream that Baku experienced, right? It's not like and it being it's a vision of the future. So like it's not everything he's interacted with before is not actually those characters in a dream. It's a future he has envisioned where they are all dreaming in these different dreams. So like Nox
Right.
knows nothing, the lady knows nothing, and so that was really cool and not what I expected. So I simultaneously like saw some things coming, but also the way it all played out, I had no idea. Obviously, we have had this thing introduced now that like Nem isn't. I mean, she's human, but she isn't like. And the lady is her mother, but like she didn't give birth to her. In fact, if
Yes.
anything, it was like the Mother Mary. Like, but instead of it being God, it was a nightmare that impregnated her.
She was the virgin birth, and in the last episode, Lord 3 refers to her as the replica.
Yeah, the replica.
So I assume that there is perhaps another, maybe another Nem, maybe in the Red Moon or something like that. Who knows? And something that they have to control. But we also have we've seen the toy, we've seen the look of the new rider, Kamen Rider
Dawn.
Dawn, I believe.
Yeah.
And we briefly see him or whoever they are in the preview for the next episode.
Mhm.
So it looks like Baku will probably fight the other lords, Kurihan, whatever his name is, if he has a
I forget
name.
his name. He
Um,
definitely does. I just don't remember it.
and
It
yeah,
takes quite a
and
number of episodes for their names to stick, and he has not been around long enough for me to. And they also always kind of refer to themselves as like Agent Number Five or
their
Code
numbers. Yeah.
905, and that's something I want to get your take on. Is the naming convention, right? So it was weird when it was like Nox Knight. Nox Knight, that's interesting. Then obviously we were introduced to the lady, and then we have the lords, right, of lords 3,
Mhm.
5, and 6, and they look like Nox Knight, but they're obviously different colors. And then they have a little bit of extra flair, right? They've got like a wing guard thing on their shoulder, and 3 even has almost like
A
an
cape.
arm cape. Those capes that just go over one arm, which is really cool. So there's this weird, like, it's very it feels antithetical, I guess, to like a secret agency to have like knights and lords and ladies. Um, so I'm curious as to where all of that comes from, and obviously the Kamen Rider tech seems to be an like they have the knight invokers and they have the lords and the ladies, and then like they have the drivers, which make the Kamen Riders, which is a different thing, right? They've made
Right.
it very clear that like, oh, Nox isn't using code tech when he
Right.
becomes Kamen Rider Nox. So what are you thinking with all of that, of like how why
My
these are knights and lords and all of this?
my guess is probably Knox would have become a lord at some point if
Right.
whatever happened. So I'm guessing like knight is like the not
Padawan.
apprentice level. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, or like a
Like
Jedi Knight, and then a Lord is like is like a
master.
Jedi Master, yeah.
And I assume probably when my guess is when the lords, whatever happens with them when they get to maybe the lord, they get bend for a little bit because Kuriha and the other guy didn't have their memories until it was time to reinstate them, essentially.
Hmm.
So Kuriha, from her episodes, just had her memory wiped, got pushed back into civilian life, and only when it was time to reignite them did she come back. And in this episode, he forcibly is like, "I don't have time for this." I, he's like, "Let's just get this done.
Yeah.
We got things to
Yeah,
do."
because
Uh,
they're now under threat of Zets being their enemy too, and not being able to control him.
although it looks like everyone's gonna get in a big scrum, and then it
Yeah.
looks like maybe he'll get them maybe more on side this time before because at least from the preview it looks like all four of them, both of the non three lords, Baku and Nox, against Dawn, and I assume that Dawn is going to just wipe the floor with them.
Do we think Dawn is zero, or Agent Number One?
I
Like,
don't
we don't know what his deal is. We don't know why he shows up.
I
Um,
I I I'm thinking that I always thought until now that Agent Number One was probably going to be a movie writer. Um, but
mm,
we'll see. He might not be because he is a common writer.
hmm.
He may like exist outside of the Lord's system. I still think one is going to be a movie writer. It will probably be since Zets is an Ichigo reference, probably like an ego reference or something like that, like a slightly different colored Zets.
Mm,
Um, and my guess is it'll be like, oh, we tried to do the Zets thing with our first real
agent.
agent and
Yeah.
it didn't work.
Yeah.
And so we used the Lord system after that. But now Zets is back. We can obviously take what we've learned and bring it movie stuff,
Yeah.
movie writers.
I mean, there could also be a chance, I guess, that Dawn is the lady, because we did see the lady using essentially the same kind of driver that Nox has, right? She was just using the capsims, and she had it like as like a wristband. And I
Yeah, so
wonder, and that
she
looked
has
like the color of Dawn, like that looked kind of like the same Dawn
it
color. So like
it
I
was
was
the
like,
same
oh
color,
yeah,
but Dawn's driver is the weapon. Because they did the toy.
oh
They've done the toy lookout.
right,
If you go on Bandai's channel, so his actual
driver is his weapon.
driver is the weapon, the little sword thing. So he
Gotcha.
puts his capsule in there and henshins via that. Although he does have we've also seen the toy for Dawn,
Mm-hmm.
not toy, like the toy box, and he has the like a cross, uh, a spot for a capsule in the center there, but it doesn't look like how he changes or anything.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I'm pulling up images of him. Yeah, yeah. So he's got like an X. It's a pretty sick outfit. I once we talked about Dawn, I do want to talk about Catastrum, the form, because I have thoughts about it. But I do like how like kind of bulky these suits are, and like um, this is a sick suit, evil, obviously looking dude. And yes, he's got an X, almost like two Zeztz drivers, right, forming in an X formation with one center circle, but there is no clearly there's no capsum in there. Um
yep, and his
and it,
capsule goes,
in
depending on the picture, you'll see
his
the
sword,
swords. Yeah,
yeah. Yeah.
the capsule goes there, so it works somewhat like Nox Knight, but not really.
Yeah, it's very
Uh,
different.
so
Um
we'll see what happens.
yeah.
He looks cool. Of course, he is also a Kamen Rider. Again, we're in one of those where, um, at least so far, Nox hasn't even been redeemed.
No?
So the only heroic Kamen Rider is Baku himself as Zeztz. Our other two are wholly villainous riders so
Yeah.
far.
Yeah. Yeah, we also have another new form being teased as well. In like the poster for this next half of the season, seems to also be using the same Catastrum device.
So yes, it is the opposite. The Catastrom Capsum is one of those dual forms like Build, Rabbit, Rabbit, Tank, Tank, where it has two different forms. This one is Order.
Gotcha. Yeah, so this is his next form, but so Catastrum, so this is his latest form that we've had up to so far. Obviously, we're getting a new form with Ordum. And initially, when I started seeing pictures, I was like, "Oof!" Like we're really pushing the bulky suit concept to the limit. Like he looks like he is a deadlift, like a weightlifter or a bodybuilder, right? Like it looks like he's got this massive torso and massive arms. But that reveal of what it is, like the whole thing around him, because we haven't even talked about the fact, like, so Baku gets like basically taken out by Nox, right? That's the thing that like puts him into like he falls into his subconscious after a fight with Nox. He falls into his subconscious. Nem is there, and he reveals or comes to understand that there is a nightmare in his subconscious, and that is the Zeztz nightmare, essentially. And we've learned also that the school that he went to as a kid, this like weird school that like Nox used to teach at and he was a kid at, was them doing what they call dream learning. So it was he has basically been not only implanted, like the reason he's a secret agent in his dreams is and like can do all this stuff is because he was being taught it as a child and he had no memories of it. On top of that, they also kind of flirt with the idea that like, no, like code instilled your love of secret agents. Like they embedded this thing that you have passion about in your real life. You like all these secret agent movies. They put that in there to as a part of this whole, they're training you to be a secret agent in your dream. And clearly, like, this nightmare, was embedded by this process or whatever. So he's in his subconscious. He's with Nem, who is also able to be in his subconscious. Don't really figure that out, but she's kind of not human, we've kind of learned, so she can kind of do whatever. And this moment was awesome, where he realizes, I can get out by doing what the nightmare does and make the bad dream come true. So he makes the bad dream in his subconscious come true, allowing him to come into the real world, allowing Nem to wake up. And then on top of that, it's his dream self escaping into the real world. So he takes over the real, or what we learned, obviously we're still in a dream at this point. It's complicated, but as far as we know, the real version of him is essentially taken over by the persona of this secret agent Baku that we know in the dreams.
Right.
And then, so that was crazy. And then, he utilizes the power of the nightmare Zeztz to use Catastrum. And then it's also revealed that, like, oh no, all of the bad things that happen to him because when he's helping people, it's tied to
his nightmare.
His nightmare. It's tied to all of this that he's been through, and that is the power that essentially he utilizes. That's why it's a catastrophe, right?
Yeah, and that is actually the name of the nightmare, I believe. It is
the catastrophe nightmare. So he is essentially becoming the nightmare version of, he's utilizing that power. And when you have all of that go behind what that form is, and we have this fight with Nox and Catastrum and the sound effect and him just being like the Terminator, I was so in. And I thought it was the coolest. I was like, this form rules, dude.
And that was also sort of the sign, probably should have been the sign to us that this was all a dream, because in that fight with Catastrum, he essentially hits him with the brake and destroys everything around him. And this is supposed to be like an actual effect of like Baku's sitting there. There's a moment where he's like, oh, I've kind of screwed up here.
Yeah.
And destroyed entirely too much of like the actual world.
Sure. And he knew that would happen, right? Because he had to bring the bad dream, and like,
and it was wild. Like literally, like whole city block, like a bomb went off. And
very
that's
anime.
that probably also should have been this is not going to stick, because they probably not let their hero do that. And in fact, in this episode, well, this is still in the dream, but he does essentially the same thing to the location they're at, and then immediately he shifts to spear him and recovers the entire background. So he is getting into it, but the question is, what is the other? Because the Capsum, if you have seen the toy, is the dual mare Capsum. So dual nightmare. So is there a second? Destruction is the is catastrophe nightmare. Obviously, the other form is order. So perhaps order creation to lean further into the Matrix vibe. Will he become the one and be able to have enhanced control over the dream? Probably, because the form definitely is. You can tell that it is supposed to be brute force and more
control,
like weaker control.
Yeah. I think that is potentially where they're going with it being Zeztz is essentially a way for code to utilize the power of lucid dreaming in the real world, right? When we're seeing it more and more, especially as Baku enhances and gets stronger, and everything has happened to him, and now he's like he has essentially merged with his nightmare. Essentially, is kind of how they've. And I love that little beat, right? Of like he pauses, he hesitates when like taking out the lady, and then he like collapses, and she's like, "No, once you embrace the nightmare, there's no stopping, and if you stop, like it's gonna kill you." And so yeah, maybe it's a thing of like they built Zets because they're like, we can, if we can create some kind of being, some kind of agent that is able to, we are able, and then like we can control the world order essentially. Like, like imagine if the CIA had like tech that like allowed you to allowed you to do what you do in the lucid dreaming, where you can essentially control the world. Like that seems to be totally in line with the other half. We talked about it in the first episode. Like, his dream is to be the hero, but weirdly, like in his eyes, the hero is the secret agent. But we know better. The secret agent is a tool for like, like a very a
the government.
handful of governments to basically direct the course of the planet. Like, so I don't think the creators of the show are unaware of that, and clearly are leaning into, no, they're bad. No, like they are ultimately, you know, uh, you know, doing bad stuff.
Right.
And then on the other hand, I'm like, I understand like the lady, like, and obviously we're getting this vibe that the Noxon lady have like noble intentions for what they're doing and all of the nightmares, and they want to break this world. Is it really just, it seems to be like the lady is getting revenge because they started hunting her when she refused to give Nem up to them, but at the same time, it can't just be revenge, right? Like there has to be some other motive.
Well, she says that she wants to wake Nim up. Like everything for her on her side is for Nim,
right?
And that is why she is like, look, if I do not destroy code, then you can't live a life. And of course, she has not questioned what Nim living a life means. And technically Baku hasn't, but obviously that's going to be a good thing, because Nim at towards the end of this episode is like, hey, is it good for me to wish to be awake?
Yeah.
And Baku's like, I mean, we're gonna make it happen.
Yeah.
And he gives himself his new mission, which is
don't let my dream come true. Yeah. Don't let my bad dream come to. Yeah. Really good. Like, I kind of chills of like, this is my final mission. This is the only mission I have now. And then on top of that, with learning as well, as you pointed out there, but like in a way, it seems to be, at least it's not, they haven't been so explicit, but the lady was essentially creating nightmares in order to push Baku to a point where he could be used. Like, she must know about the Zeztz program, I'm assuming, and and she was like, the way we can get, like, they wanted Nem to wake up. They weren't keeping her in the coma to like manipulate her. Like, her goal was to get her to wake up. So she seemed to have herself, I don't know if she had a premonition about it, maybe, and she can do the premonition dreaming or whatever, but she seemed to be like, oh, he's reached his potential, and with that, he can essentially utilize the power of the nightmare to break him and Nem out.
Yeah, and we haven't seen that conversation, but in the preview, lady says like, oh, he's woken up to like premonition dreaming. Like,
yeah.
So she knows what this is.
Yeah.
Is she good? probably not, at least very misguided.
Yes.
Code is, of course, evil.
Yes.
Zero is at most conflicted evil. Like,
It's one of these things where these are just great characters, right? At the end of the day, like you have the most evil person in my mind is 3, right? He is
right,
the guy who is like laser
all in.
focused, like he is like, and to the point where he seems to have a bit of, you would imagine that maybe like 0 was his superior, right? Like each rider is subsequently, Baku is the latest one, so he is 7. So 0 would, in many ways, probably be 3 superior, but 3 seems to kind of be like not on the same page as this guy, and so I think 0 is kind of this character who he has the same goal as 3, but he might have more noble intentions, right? Like he might think what he is truly doing is good, whereas I just get the sense that 3 is an evil bastard. And then you have 2 on the other side, and the lady, right? It's revealed that the lady is Agent 2, Agent number 2, and she has this noble intention of like trying to save Nem, but obviously is going about it in a way that is incredibly destructive, and she's kind of not usurped, she's kind of poisoned Nox a little bit, right? And she's manipulated Nox into helping her, and he is also getting revenge because of being manipulated by Code and the cycle of manipulation and all of this, like. And Baku, right? I loved this bit in the episode where Baku faces off against 0 and like fucking Henshin's in front of him, and he's like preparing to like do the finisher move, and he's like, "Get the fuck out of here! Like this is my dream space," you know.
Yep, and then he does. He essentially locks off the door.
Yeah.
Thus, of course, I
To
mean,
Code HQ, right? Yeah.
yeah, leaving him theoretically without a bike. Although once Zeroider was dead, there was a just base bike in there. So, assuming the bike will come back at some point.
Well, that was something I said in the beginning. Like, I hope we get a lot more bike stuff, and we've had some bike stuff, but it's been very limited still. And clearly, here's another great excuse to not have him have his motorcycle. He's got beef with it.
Yep. So, and at this point, like I said, we're in the second half of the show. We probably have at least 2 more forms. Usually, what will be the final form, assuming dual mare is like the equivalent of like Blizzard Sorbet from Gav, or what was it from Gotchard? Super Gotchard? No, it was Iron Gotchard and Platinum. But so we'll get the final form, the all our powers combined probably, and then we'll get the Reiwa standard, um, the first form, but better. So like I think Gotchard's was Ultimate Steam Hopper, which was just the base form. The previous ones were all that same thing. It's like, it's the base form, it's back, it's cooler. Gav actually did something different. It had a single shot, amazing gummy form that they showed up. So we'll get at least 2 more forms probably of Gotchard. And I will be interested to see if Nox gets another form.
Yeah,
Because
he has
Nox Knight is one, and Kamen Rider Nox feels like
shadow
a
form,
different.
right?
Yeah, Kamen Rider Nox feels like a different thing. So
Mhm.
probably they should give Nox a second, like an upgrade form. But that could be a thing like Valvarad from Gotchard, where like they save that for like another thing. Who knows?
And he's
Right
had
now,
those arm attachments.
the arm attachments.
Yeah, like he had, and I think in fact they were because one of them was Gun, which was our very first nightmare that we faced that
and
Zeztz
Sword.
faces
Yep.
off against. So Sword as well, okay, which I don't think we've seen the Sword nightmare, but so he's had those, and it is clearly this like half and half design there, but. Yeah, we've got a lot more episodes to go through. We're gonna find out all about Kamen Rider Dawn. I guess my final question is one, do you think there's another rider, or this is going to be it? Like, we're going to do, like, Dawn is going to be the last new rider to be introduced. And two, what is your premonition dream of the next 24 episodes? Where do we think we go? Do you think this show is building toward ending in the same place we ended to it in the midpoint of being like facing off against 3, like all of this? Answer the rider
My,
one first. That's
I
probably
think
easy.
this is probably it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily see like another. Maybe they do one more rider if they decide to have. My guess is Lord 3 is if there is an ultimate villain that we have not already seen, it's going to be an Ascended Lord 3. Like
Mm-hmm.
he's going to have his new form because that guy has, oh, I'm going all the way
Yeah.
villain energy just written
Oh,
all over him.
his like call sign when they do the disguise, right? That was the other thing. They don't henshin. They say, I don't know the word in Japanese, but disguise is their word. And so and then they go into the Lord form, but they all have like something, their fucking thing, their driver, their
They
invoker
all have a
says
different
something.
capsule. Yep.
Yeah, and his is extra. And I really liked that.
So I think he'll probably ride through this. I think Zero will probably have a come to Jesus moment. Lady will probably have a come to Jesus moment
Mhm.
because they are not. They are both evil in their own way, but they both feel like they're like I am. I think this is the best way, and that's why I'm willing to do it. Whereas 3 is like, no, I am a company man. We are going to do this job.
Mhm.
Um, so I think he's probably going to be our final villain, unless it is just some monster, you know, related to Nim, like the waking nightmare or something like that, because she wants to wake up or something. Um, some eldritch horror thing
Right.
that happens. Like Nim needed to be asleep because otherwise, a much horrible thing wakes up. Yeah,
Mm,
that. But yeah, Baku and the team will get it together, probably fight whatever this waking nightmare is, and then save Nim. But I think Lord 3, if it's not Nim related, it's Lord 3 taking on some form.
gotcha. Okay, cool. Well, we'll have to wait and see. But I've been thoroughly. How are you feeling towards this show? Like like halfway through, are you feeling like this is living up to the best of Kamen Rider to the point where it's like, you know, newcomers, like you are watching. Do you feel like you're watching one of the better seasons of the show in recent years?
Yeah, I will say I was a little uh not down on it, but there was a point. I'd probably say like
Midway through this point,
maybe like
yeah.
Poison Nightmare on, like after the
Sure.
prison arc, where I was just kind of like,
What are we doing?
it's fine.
Yeah.
But then they introduced the Lords, and I definitely picked up. Probably like I said, the opening episodes were great. Then it kind of hit the doldrums and the episodic, and then
Hmm.
the Lords came in, and that whole plot line
Yeah, has been great.
picked up to this point, and then it's just been which, hey, that is sometimes what happens in the shows. There's just a midpoint where we're just doing monster of the week and nothing really is
We're
happening.
just introducing forms.
Yeah.
Those episodes only exist to get those base forms in, and then yeah, I would say that's pretty typical, right? For like a Kamen Rider, like we're spinning our wheels for the opening up until Rider 2 shows up usually, and then like shit starts like hitting the fan,
Right.
and yeah, the amount of progress we've made in the story, the amount of things that have occurred in like the last 12 episodes as opposed to the first 12 is wild.
Yeah. I like it. Again, going for the past one, I like it more than Gotchard.
Mhm.
That this probably first half, not as good as Gav. Gav was just hitting on all cylinders
You
for me.
like Gav a lot. Like, I'm gonna have to go back and watch it because and I'm just like, oh, the Pringles rider. Like,
Yeah, like it definitely it's one of those where like some of the forms I'm just like I don't particularly care, but it's one of those that's carried by the
it's story and
characters
characters. Yeah,
and the story.
yeah,
Gaim is another one of those where some of the
yeah.
forms I'm like,
Gaim, dude.
like I don't really care.
Yeah,
But the characters are
we're getting into some obscure fruits. So for anyone that doesn't, Gaim, we've talked about on the show before, but Gav, the one that Mike referred to, was the season before this, and it was snack based transformations. I think a gummy bear, not a gummy bear, but just like a gummy was his
right.
first form, and then there was Pringles, and then there was a bar of
Chocolate.
Yeah, and then Gaim was from 2013, I think, and it was Samurai Fruit.
Yeah, it was armored warriors and fruits. So
Yes,
he was a fruit
Orange Samurai.
samurai,
Yeah,
but they also had like others from like
banana
Ryugen
knight, like a banana, like a traditional knight, and he had
right,
a
and Ryugen
banana
was
lens.
Chinese warrior themed, so stuff like that.
But that season kicks ass. It's so
right,
good.
and that's another one of those where like the story, when they are doing the story is great,
Yeah.
and the characters are great, but there are certain episodes where they're just like, oh my god, here's pineapple form. I don't care. Fours was also a little bit like that.
Oh,
Like
but a good story though. Yeah.
most of the fours forms, in fact,
I hated
like
its base. I
I
just hated
hated
aesthetically how it looked. Yeah.
outside of the base form, and most of the other switches were just not interesting. But fours as a character and his whole cast of the Kamen Rider Club just kept you going.
Yeah.
And this is that, I think, whereas something like Gotchard, like I like most of the Gotchard
What was the
forms.
theme that season?
Alchemy. He was in an alchemy
Oh,
school.
okay.
And but the problem was I didn't particularly like Gotchard himself, and I didn't particularly like most of his cast.
Okay, sure.
So I'm just kind of like, I'm watching this to just keep up.
Yeah. Can't miss a
Um,
season.
it had some good like interesting moments in the show, but most of the cast just didn't work for me. Whereas like Zeztz were into like I like most of this cast.
I like all of the
And
characters for different reasons. I don't think
yeah,
there's the paranormal affairs division I could give a take at this point, but they're inoffensive, and there are moments like all of the stuff
but
with
they're
when we
not
get
this time around. So that was
oh yeah,
the
they've
other
been
thing.
dismantled, and they've yes, we're at that point.
So in the
Yeah,
original dream reality, whatever you want to call it, Fujimi's nightmare, which is the bomb nightmare, actually manifests in the real world.
right.
So after he essentially attacks his boss, um, he is proven correct when the bomb happens and there is indeed monsters. So the paranormal division
Gets
continues on.
reinstated. Yes. Now
Whereas in
yeah,
this one, Catastrom kills the bomb nightmare before anything can happen.
yeah.
before it can manifest in the real world. So he's just fired.
Yeah.
He's just
Yeah.
fired.
Yeah. Even though he's vindicated by the end and like, oh shit, black cases are real, but
Like
yeah, they're not.
all things are
They're
real,
not
but
cops. Yeah.
he can't tell that to his boss.
Right. Yeah. There's none
I mean,
of that.
I guess he could bring his boss to the thing. So currently there is no paranormal affairs division. Fujimi has been fired from the force. Nazca is still on the force, but she doesn't know where she is supposed to go.
Right. Yeah. Lots of.
And I don't think I don't know if we're gonna touch it. Who knows?
Yeah, it might not. They might just continue to. You can easily see how they just continue to assist essentially, and that's what the finale seems to be teasing, right? Like Baku has locked code out of his dream space, and he essentially recruits them at the end, and he's like, "Hey, to catch you up, like I fight nightmares. You guys will kind of help me do it, and like." The big one is coming, and I've had a premonition about it, and so do they need to officially, is it going to be a plot point that they're not actually a police anymore? I don't know, but it is a funny wrinkle that that they are no longer, or at least he is no longer a part of the force. How funny. Well, Mike, thanks for chatting Zeztz with me. I assume we will be back for whenever the next big update is. Maybe we get some more Gavan info. Maybe we'll start seeing, I guess, in the coming months. Around what episode do we start getting like the first teasers of whatever the next Kamen Rider season is?
Like
when do we get trademark and all that jazz? Sometime in the
isn't
summer.
that like summer? I want to say it's like late June, early July.
Yeah, so we're closer to that than we are the start of Zeztz, so that'll be interesting. But
and at least as far as I don't know if we've gotten an actual episode count for Gavan. But the scuttle it is going to be a short season, like just 25. Like in that range, like 23 to 26, something we're in there. So who knows?
Yeah. But you can follow this podcast to find out. You will know when we know if Gavan ends up being a short season. So we'll be back. We'll be back for whenever the next big update of info is out. Mike, thank you so much for joining me. Tell me where people can find you. Tell them about that podcast episode you guested on before we hit the record button. You got some
yeah, so you can always find me at mhwilliams.bsky.social. As I always say, I will eventually change that to something more personal and memorable, but I still haven't yet because I'm tired, boss. And I was just recorded this morning an episode of DLC Pod, which is Jeff Kanata's pod all about video games. So that was a fun episode to talk about. And then last week I was on Giant Bomb's Jeff Grubb's Game Mess Mornings talking all about video game news. So
lots of stuff happening in the world of video games as well. Yeah, great. Everyone go follow Mike. You can find me at Tom Caswell Games across the internet in various forms, and we will see you next time. Good morning, Rider.